Yeah, it's time.
How you doing, Neil?
Good, yeah, very good.
Yeah, no complaints.
Remember I was telling you about how slow things were at work? Yeah. Our account, so we're doing better than I thought. It's kind of like that, the end of the year, you know?
Good. Well, that's good, that's good news.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Okay, we ready to rock? Okay, good evening, everyone. Tonight is the March 6th regular meeting, minutes at 5:30. And I sure hope I don't have to use this gavel tonight, so we'll call the meeting to order.
Yeah, we'll call the roll here. Mr. Crandall?
Here.
Mr. Mahoney?
Here.
Simcoe? Here. Mr. Genoway's absent.
Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anybody any questions on the approval of the minutes for February 20th or the 27th?
I do, Neil, on the open discussion on the February 20th meeting. This is about the piece between Perrysburg Township, Sylvania Township.
Yes.
The last sentence says, all trustees and Mr. Simcoe agreed to move forward with the project. And I think we agreed to proceed with the scenarios for future consideration.
I'm glad you caught that.
Yeah.
That's great.
If that's okay, I'd
That's great.
suggest
Yeah,
that.
no, that's a good catch.
It'll
Okay.
come back to the
Yeah,
trustees.
I do have the proposals in my car. I'll get them to you before.
Well, that.
So put them in your mailboxes.
Yeah. I just didn't want people to think we were moving ahead.
Get it to me and I'll...
Short of that, are we okay?
Yes, I'll move approval of the minutes as amended.
Second?
Calling the roll, Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thanks, John.
Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda, John?
None?
Hearing of the public, do we have anybody who'd like to speak this evening?
Oh, yes, we have Mr. Non-agenda items.
Okay.
But
Do you mind waiting until we get to the non-agenda spot?
I'm ready to wait.
Okay. Let's get into the zoning department.
No, it's not till 6.
That's right. Let's get into the road department.
Okay.
Good evening, I just have one item on the agenda. It's resolution number 18-028. I'm requesting authorization to purchase a CAN 4000 TEPX. It's a hot mix transporter. We do not have one at this time. It's not a replacement. It'd be a new item. We have requested 3 proposals from 3 different companies for a similar item, and Southeastern with the CAN was the best and lowest bidder.
What'd you do before? Just put them on the back of the dump truck?
Currently, how we do our potholes are what they call a cold mix, and that is very temporary, and depending on the weather, when you put it down, it could last a day, it could last 2 or 3 days, a week or 2. But this item, what it is a hot mix box. It's a reclaims virgin asphalt as well, so you can put asphalt in it, and let's say at the end of the season in September, and reclaim it in January, February, later on, heat it up, and it gives you a more permanent patch.
All right.
We'll also use it in the summertime for our construction season to keep the mix hot when we travel from small patch to small patch.
And heaven forbid if you needed, this is a better piece of equipment in the winter if you had a...
Okay.
Probably right now, you guys are using a cold product.
Passable.
It just doesn't seal.
I like it. Okay. I'll offer resolution 18028 to purchase a KM 4000 TEPX hot mix transporter.
Second.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rob. Fire department?
Chris?
Hi, Chris.
Hi, good evening. Chief Ram's at a training seminar in Columbus today and tomorrow. Excuse me. Just want to make sure you have the right one up there. Before you have Resolution 18-011, requesting permission to fill 3 vacancies in the fire department. Currently, we have 1 vacant position as a result of Lieutenant Young retiring. His last day was March 4th. We have David Hatfield that's going to be retiring effective March 26th after 30 years of service. And then under the labor agreement, by April 1st, we have to have another individual assigned to platoon work.
I'll move approval of resolution 18011, authorization to appoint 3 full-time firefighter paramedics. I think they're all coming from our part-time
They are,
workers,
yes.
which is a good system that we use.
Yep.
Second.
Call the roll, Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Thanks.
Jim, anything?
No, sir.
All right.
Anything for Jim? That's them.
My first item is a public hearing for street lighting petition for Mallard Point Plat 2. If you'd open up the hearing, member wants to speak, close it, and then we can pass the resolution.
I'll open the hearing at 5:37 for street lighting petition for Mallard Point Plat 2. With nobody expressing any interest for the good or bad, we'll close the public hearing. I'll offer resolution 18030 to approve street lighting for Mallard Point Part 2.
Second.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Then my next item is a public hearing for street lighting petition for Woodstream West Plat 13.
I'll open a public hearing at 5:37 and a half, street lighting petition for Woodstream West Plat 13. Anyone? I'll close the public hearing, 5:37 3/4, the street lighting petition for Woodstream West, and offer resolution for 18031, the street lighting petition for Woodstream Plat 13.
Second.
Call the roll, Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
My next item is a discussion for 2018 agency funding. In your mailboxes, you should have received the requests from the various agencies that are requesting township funding. We're not asking for any action tonight, but if you have any questions or after you read them over, feel free to...
I don't know about you, Neil, but I got mine just a couple hours.
Right, that's what we're just
And,
for the discussion
I
tonight.
couldn't even discuss it right now. I mean, we weren't going to take
I'm with you.
action tonight.
Right.
Just as soon postpone the discussion till
Sounds good.
the next meeting.
Okay,
Thanks, John.
next up is the Mr. Simple.
Yes. I have resolution 18-029, and we have some appropriations needed for various accounts that are attached to the resolution. These are just some adjustments that need to be made. These occur after we get the budget going. There sometimes are some adjustments that need to be made. As you can see, I think the larger ones are road and bridge for insurance and medical, police funding for longevity, and fire fund for longevity.
I'll offer resolution, or actually, my apologies. I'll offer resolution 18029, appropriation of unencumbered balance.
Second.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
And then we have under item 19, it's a discussion of Lucas County Commissioners' motor vehicle license fee increase. And what you were just handed was a draft resolution that the county had submitted to us. Of course, it's not in our form, and we're just kind of discussing it. But what it is, it will allow the commissioners to place a $5 increase on, when someone goes in to renew their license, and that money would go for county road improvements, not for township road improvements, but for county road improvements. John, you're familiar with this too.
Right.
Do you have any other other comments?
The county is requesting all the townships to adopt a resolution saying that they're on board with the county. I emphasize the county putting the $5 tax on. And so this time we're just going to discuss it, what's your views on it, and then next meeting we'll actually put the actual resolution on, if there is any discussion.
I'd like to have either Keith Early or his deputy here the next meeting to discuss, I'm trying to remember now, but I think we had 45 workers, maybe highway workers in '06 when I retired. I know Keith's down to 27, which our department also has had a major cutback. But in this funding is now allowed to add $5. The township was in there for $5, but the legislature took us out, so we can't do it. But that was part of the original bill. And about 40 miles on our system roughly are county roads. So all our heavily traveled roads, McCord, Sylvania, and they're suffering, in my mind, with reduced revenue, just like we are. So I feel like they should come though and let us know about their financial position.
I will arrange for somebody from the engineer's office to be at the next meeting, and we'll put this resolution on at that time.
Great. Open discussion for non-agenda items. James Crosby.
I've reconsidered, I have nothing to ask at this time.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming tonight.
Absolutely, wouldn't it?
With that, we'll go into executive session to discuss personnel compensation for non-union at 5:44.
Well, we'll come out at 6 whether we're done or not, correct?
Right.
For the zoning discussion.
Mr. Crandall, did you second that one?
Yes,
I'll call the roll. Mr. Crandall?
yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes. Okay. Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we come back out of, or that we come out of executive session at 6:04.
Second,
Mr. Crandall?
yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes. And my apologies that you guys had to wait. We should have been in here at 6 o'clock.
Zoning?
Darrell, you're up.
Good evening. I have a couple zone changes before the board this evening for the property at 8732 Brent Road. The trustees have received the staff report and Lucas County Plan Commission staff report, as well as the zoning department's recommendation on each of these zone changes. So I'll answer any questions you may have, and the applicant is here as well.
So I think we need to open up a public hearing.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we open up the public hearing at 6:06 to discuss the request zone change from PUD to R1 residential.
John, you second that?
Yeah, do you think we need a separate hearing?
Right, it's two
Can we
separate,
combine the R2?
well, it's two separate zone changes and two separate resolutions.
You want separate?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to hear both, I
Right.
assume. Okay.
Second by Mr. Crandall.
Yes,
We'll call the roll. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
yes.
Do we have anybody signed up that would like to speak on behalf of the project, for or against?
Couple names.
Okay. Tim Rakowski? Come on up. If if you don't mind, to just give me just for our record, just your name again and address, please.
It's Timothy Rutkowski. I live at 8725 Galloway Court.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to Quarry Ridge. I just have a few questions. My lot would actually back up to, yes, exactly, right there. Right, look to your right, to your right, to your right. Oh, okay.
Right there.
Okay, gotcha.
My concern is the water right here, that for the drainage, there's a ditch that runs along this right here, that's, this line. And this ditch already fills up to the top when it rains. So, I mean, if all this, pavement and everything, everybody's water drainage is gonna actually go into the ditch like our neighborhood does, there's no way that ditch is
Excuse me.
taking all that water.
Can you come back to the microphone?
Yes, sir.
And that's my concern, is where the water drainage is gonna be.
Good question. I think we'll get an answer on that in just a few. You want to address the question now, or do you want?
I can, yeah.
Okay, that'd be great.
My name is Steve Mitchell, 3150 Republic Boulevard. We're the applicant for the subdivision. Yeah, I'm well aware of the ditch and filling up with water. We were the developer adjacent to it. Our outlet pipe, we will not drain directly into that. In fact, we'll now have to put rear yard catch basins along the back of all those lots. There's another drawing that we'll probably see later that's got a detention pond there. So the water would fill into that pond, then meter out to the outlet that's over here, and it goes underneath the road. And we know we'll be working with Lucas County Engineering Department. We can't add additional flow into that ditch along there, but it won't be going directly into that.
So the catch basins will be on the back?
Yeah, that's a requirement now that, used to be you could drain right into those ditches. You're not allowed to do that anymore.
I see.
So they'll all, again, collect into a pond that we will build, and it'll be approved and sized accordingly by the Lucas County Engineer's Office.
Water runs into
Yeah,
that.
there's a crossing of the road over here that goes, and it heads back into the quarry area. I may be a little off, but.
Got it.
I know you've seen the staff report. We're in agreement with the recommended changes that have already been made from the Lucas County Engineer's Office, as well as the recommendations from the Township Planning Commission. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. There are two zonings here.
Well, that, just so I got my bearings right here, John Zeitler, since we would close the public hearing and then Mr. Mitchell would present the case then, or do we continue the conversation of this?
If you close the hearing, then the next one would be the resolution. Is that right?
Well,
Okay.
I've got a question before.
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure I'm getting it right, so we can start
I'm not
talking
sure,
about.
is Tim the only speaker?
Tim's the only one that's spoken,
Oh, I didn't
yeah,
realize.
signed up, so.
Okay. Tim, are you familiar with the conditions
No, there's,
on the
You want to sign up?
developer?
Here, come on up.
I'm sorry?
Are you familiar with the conditions on the developer? The Plan Commission is
Yes,
given
as far
him
as requirements and yes.
50-some conditions here.
Okay. I didn't see them, no, but.
Well, one of those, what Mr. Mitchell's saying is the county engineer will review, he's going to be limited to the natural drainage that goes to that ditch now before development. And then he has a detention system to hold that water and be sure he's not discharging more. And then if improvements are needed, and right now we don't know downstream, he's required to make those as a part of the project. I just didn't know if you were aware of that.
Thank you.
Diana Pierce, please.
That was quick, I saw it.
Sorry we missed you on the agenda item sign-in.
I didn't sign in.
So if you
Enter
could
and
just
sign
get your
in.
name and address again, please, for the record.
Sure. Diana Pierce, 7308 Brent Road. Well, I'm not opposed to development progress. You know, Sylvania is a great place to live. Because I live on Brent Road, right now there are certain times of the day, and coming over here for this meeting was one of them, where we have a driveway where we have to back into Brent Road. We don't have a horseshoe or a little pad where we can turn around. And so my concern with the development so big out Brent Road was that people will be using Brent Road, of course, to go home to their houses. So my question is, what's going to happen to Brent Road? Because, I mean, this would take the road, if it's going to be expanded into 2 lanes on each side, this is going to go into my front yard, basically. You know, is there any sort of plan for, like, the traffic? So that we can get out of our driveway.
Now, whereabouts on Brent Road are you?
I live right across from the entryway to Country Walk.
Okay.
So just right over the...
Country Walk?
Country Walk, which is on the left side, left side if you were going west out Brent Road. And it's just, I live just right over the township line. So before you would...
So
get
are
to
you in
King-
Richfield Township?
No, I'm in
Oh,
Sylvania
okay,
Township.
I'm missing something, but...
No,
okay.
in the city, if you went up Brent, go by McCord, and before you get to King, I would live on the right-hand side.
Got it.
So that's my concern, is just, you know, the traffic patterns already, when they closed off, when Sylvania City closed off the one cut through in the Meadows, that shifted already a lot of traffic onto Brent Road. And also when Lord's built their facility down at McCord and Brent, that shifted more traffic our way. And so really my concern is, you know, the flow of traffic. Is there any way of, you know, making the main entryways, or what's going to happen, I guess what's going to happen with the traffic? So,
Well, they're required to do a traffic study.
okay.
That's one of the other conditions in here.
And
But that's probably to determine whether a left turn is needed at their development. You're back probably almost a mile and a half or so from the project, if I understand
right.
where
Right.
you're at.
But if you're coming from town, from
you're actually-
Sylvania City, you're gonna go, you know, what, out Sylvania Avenue, out Brent Road, or out, Sylvania Metamora Road. I mean, those are gonna be the roads, which, I mean, Sylvania Avenue is, a big street, but the Sylvania Metamora is not a big street. I mean, they would have the same problems, I think, with traffic and getting out of their drives. And then my other concern is just about the schools, and I don't know if this meeting, because I haven't been to a lot of township council meetings or Sylvania City meetings, the schools. My niece is in 6th grade, well, she would have been in 6th grade this year at Maplewood, and with all of the redistricting, she has had to go to McCord for a year. And when you're in 6th grade and then you're going into middle school, your friends are so important to you. And I'm wondering what would happen. Are the schools taken into account? You know, what are we going to do with the kids that would live in a development that's that big? So,
I can't speak on behalf of the schools, but it's a great observation on your end. What they have done, Mrs. Pierce, is that they have accounted for, part of the redistricting was for planning for the development out in the western edge of the township and with the schools. And, because I was kind of thinking the same thing, you know, I live over here by, like, Wakeford Road.
Right.
It's pretty busy over there.
Right.
And, but there's just not a lot of growth that you see over there, so I think that's kind of why they were like this. You know, we know there's some knowns out on the western side by keeping the kids, you know, that's, I think, and again, I'm not speaking on behalf of the school board, but I think that's what's kind of their ultimate plan was, because they were just packing them into Whiteford, where my kids
Right.
are, Arbor Hills.
Right.
And the kids that are coming out from our way out here, so, I'm not sure that answers your question, but
like I said, I'm not opposed to, to development. I don't want to sound like, I'm poo-pooing the project. It's just, my concerns are probably those two things, is my major concern about it. So,
Thank you for coming
Thank you.
tonight. Anyone else? Last call? All right. With that being said, John, we'll close the public hearing, and then we'll, if we have any questions with Steve, or do we continue to keep it open, Darrell, for Steve's presentation or whatever you wanted to add?
Well, I think we should have Steve make his presentation as a part of their
Under the public hearing, okay,
I do.
great,
I don't
okay,
know
great,
about you.
perfect.
And then you want to do both the resolutions together?
Well, I think it's one project in my mind.
That's fine.
Okay.
I don't have a whole lot to add beyond, there's a pretty detailed report that came, but there are two zonings, and I guess just to help simplify, the non-shaded area is the one that is just the straight R1 zoning, and that's what I would call the traditional single-family lots. We connect to Brick Crossing right here, there is an existing stub street. We were asked to add a stub street going to the east, which we have added right there, and then we have a park access, similar to what was done in Brick Crossing right there, to tie into, there's a bike path that's pretty close. We'll also figure out how to tie in with Olander's bike trail over here. We'll work with that group. We obviously want to have all these as interconnected as possible. That's, I think, part of the appeal of living out here. So that's the R1 portion. The shaded area, I know there's another drawing that is what I would call the villa section, which would be more of an, probably empty nester user, but they tie in right there. They'll share the same entry point. There's a boulevard right there.
Part of our land use plan was to help tie in neighborhoods with bike paths. You know, try to, so there's.
Oh, I'm a big believer.
To get in there, so thank you for your thought on that.
Steve, what do you anticipate the timeline to develop a project?
I think in a perfect scenario, we'd bring the first phase of the villas, which would be that cul-de-sac, and then this chunk of the single family, later this fall, assuming everything goes smoothly through the engineering review process. We do have one section left in the Brent Crossing neighborhood, just opened up last fall. There'll be homes that start in there. So there'll probably be a period of time where there's a little bit of overlap. But that's our objective right now, is this fall.
So Steve, just a thought process, you're looking out, this is years and years of plats, right?
I don't have too many years.
Right, but you know what I'm saying, it's like
Yeah.
you're looking out, it's not like this is gonna happen tomorrow, you're gonna take
Right.
plats and grow from there, like.
The plats typically be 20 lots per plat.
Got it.
And they'll be built as the market kind of dictates.
Got it.
I looked up today, in Brick Crossings, you've got about 13 years. You're not quite done yet, so,
We had a little 6-year lull though, and
yeah, no, and we don't know, I hope.
we don't want to go there.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen again, but, so, we're not looking at an immediate,
Oh, no.
this is gonna take a period of, I would guess about 15 years.
I would think the villa sections would sell out well before the single family, just given the demographics.
And do you have a price range on the villas?
Villas will probably start at 200 range. They are single story.
Yes.
And then the single family homes would be similar to what's in Brick Crossing now.
And what would that average?
275 and up. And again, the market will dictate a little bit of.
Okay. Did you have a comment?
I was just curious, I was attempting to see stormwater drainage on here, but evidently this is part of this drawing. Is it part of that drawing?
It should be.
Yeah, there's some other.
Hey, before you come up, I just need you to come to the, let me sign you in here, please, just for the record. I'm not trying to be difficult, but we just need it.
Absolutely not,
Okay.
I was attempting to see the
No, yeah.
visual aids display, and it was
No problem.
impossible to see more seated.
Okay.
How's your pen work?
Oh, sorry.
All right, I'd be okay voting on it
Okay, either way, yeah.
either way.
Thank you.
I don't know, until we just discussed it.
I do.
James Crosby, Westbourne Road, Spain Township. I was sitting in a row back there attempting to see the projector screen up there so I could better understand the project. I have now in my hands from the zoning director a legible copy, so I might be able to see things I was concerned with. And I was looking for the drawing on here, which I was told exists, the stormwater drainage as established. Was earlier mentioned about catch basins and storm drainage being set up to take it away.
Easements everywhere on there. Now, the engineering drawings that would be done plat by plat have all the detail.
That's what I was wondering when I attempted to see
That's
them.
been done yet.
Exactly.
That's only told.
So that's the plan. I was just attempting to see it on the materials displayed, what the drainage was
That's
being referred to.
easements.
I see that it shows all the boundary lines for the plots. And I do see some setbacks established for potential drainage. All right, thank you for your time. I appreciated the opportunity.
Thank you for coming. Any concerns, John, or any questions, or anything
No,
like
I'm-
that? Okay.
I think we should close the hearing unless someone else
Okay.
would like to speak.
I'm willing to close the hearing at 6:25.
Second?
Okay, we'll call the roll, Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Hearing's closed.
So I have two resolutions. Resolution 18022 is to approve the zone change request from PUD to R1 residential. This is for the 38 acres, the part that was not shaded, the white part.
I'll move resolution 1822 to approve the zone change request from PUD to R1 residential for the property located at 8732 Burnt Road.
Second?
Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Thank you. I also have resolution 18023 to approve the zone change request from PUD to R2 PUD for the property at 8732, and that is the 14.8 acres that was shaded on the site plan.
I'll offer resolution 18023 to approve the zone change request from PUD to R2 PUD.
Second?
Calling the roll, Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Darrell.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good luck.
The next item I have on the zoning agenda is text amendment to section 2211 fencing in the zoning resolution. Again, you've received the staff report on that, and I can answer any questions that you may have.
I think this is a pretty good change compared to the other townships, so I'll move approval.
Actually, John, I think we need to open up the public.
Oh, you got to...
Sorry, yeah. I'm gonna open up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Open up public hearing at 6:25 regarding the text amendment change for fencing. Nobody?
Could you explain what the amendment change?
Sure,
absolutely.
Sure, this is for open fencing such as split rail or chain link that's in a front setback.
Our current requirement is for maximum height of 3.5 feet. This would raise that up to 4 feet. Solid fencing would remain at a maximum height of 3 feet. And again, this is in the front setback.
Thank you.
We've had a lot of requests for additional height.
All right, I'll close the public hearing at 6:27. I'll offer resolution 18024 to approve the text amendment change regarding fencing.
Second?
Call the roll, Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you. My next item is Resolution 18025, authorization of removal of a junk vehicle at the property located at 2748 Moffett Drive. You've received the violation materials on that, as well as the photographs.
I'll offer resolution 18025 to remove the junk vehicle at Moffett Drive.
Second?
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you. And my last item is Resolution 18027, authorization of abatement of debris/garbage at property located at 6228 Boncells Parkway. And again, you've received all the materials on that. I can answer any questions that you may have.
I'll move resolution 18027, authorization of abatement of debris and garbage at property located at 6228 Bonzel Parkway.
Second?
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Thank you. And that is all that I have this evening.
With that being said, I'll take a motion to adjourn and allow us to go back to executive session.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We got one more thing, I think
that's
our
right.
representative of the county engineer is here for a discussion on the $5.
Great.
And since he's here, we thought we'd let him present his case.
Thanks.
I'd like to thank the trustees. I was kind of trying to divide and conquer. It didn't quite work out as well as I planned. So, thanks for hearing me tonight, a little bit belated, so.
And if you don't mind, I just, for the record, just need your name
Yeah, my name is Michael Paniski. I'm the Chief Deputy Engineer for the Lucas County Engineer's Office.
and your address, Michael?
My address is, yeah, the engineer's office.
Great, okay, thank you.
Ford Road.
McCord Road. Let me get my notes here. So, I'd just like to thank you, the trustees, for the consideration and support of the enactment of a $5 license plate fee by the Board of Lucas County Commissioners. Essentially, what we're asking is consideration of a resolution by the trustees that supports the Board of Lucas County Commissioners in the enactment of an additional $5 permissive motor vehicle license plate fee per the Ohio Revised Code 4504.24, passed by the Ohio General Assembly in 2017 and effective last July. The funds generated will go to the county engineer for maintenance of the county road system and associated projects, such as joint projects with area jurisdictions on extension of county roads within city or village limits, and regional transportation priority projects such as the I-75 at Door Street Interchange Project and the I-475 at 20A Interchange Project. This fee would not apply to 2018 registrations. If enacted by the Board of Lucas County Commissioners by July 1st, 2018, it would take effect for 2019 registrations. If enacted, this $5 license tag increase is estimated to generate $1.8 million annually for our county roads. The Lucas County Engineer's Office dedicated revenue has increased 7.6% over the past 16 years, while our overall costs have increased 66%. Paving costs have doubled and the cost of salt has tripled. For example, the average price bid for in-place surface asphalt was $66.90 per cubic yard in 2001 and was $136.09 per cubic yard in the year 2016. We anticipate over the long term that our costs will continue to increase and our purchasing power will decrease. We estimate that an immediate $7 million increase is needed for us to have the same purchasing power we had in the year 2000, plus annual increases of costs to cover inflation, and this fee increase will only cover $1.8 million of that. The motor vehicle license plate fee currently provides approximately 80% of our dedicated revenue. In the year 2000, we received $9.6 million. In 2016, we received $9.5 million, a decrease of $100,000. The state gas tax currently provides approximately 20% of our dedicated revenue. In the year 2000, we received $1.4 million of gas tax funds. and in 2016, we received $2.3 million gas tax funds. The Lucas County road system and bridges are in good condition, but there's not enough money projected to keep them in good condition. The county road system is generally the principal roads of incorporated Lucas County. It includes many of the major roads here in Sylvania Township. Overall, we have approximately 303 miles of road or share road with other agencies to maintain and 162 bridges. We are increasing our preventative maintenance work such as crack sealing, microsurfacing, chip sealing, etc. to try to extend the life of our pavements. On average, 20 years ago, we were trying to resurface a road once every 20 years, which is about the design life of those roads. But due to funding, that average is becoming closer to once every 30 years. The Office of the Lucas County Engineer has reduced its workforce over the past 16 years by 40% and revised our maintenance procedures to continue to reduce costs. The last countywide permissive license plate fee for Lucas County was implemented in 1989, so almost 30 years ago. So the funds outlined in Ohio Revised Code 4504.24 will be used for construction, maintenance, repair of roads and bridges and other infrastructure. And thanks, and we appreciate your consideration and your continued support of our office and infrastructure in your township. So, thanks a lot, and I answer any questions you might have.
Besides the 40 miles of county road in our township, well, it's a little less than that, but they also take care of the bridges on both the county road system and the township road system. I think what you hear here is just what our road department is suffering from. Revenue's not keeping up with expenses, and we're all getting by. I think our road system is much like yours. It's in good shape, but keeping it in good shape is going to be a challenge in the future. Now, I don't know if you want to have Mike back. I think I could make a motion to support this tonight.
We don't have a resolution on it, do we, though, Jim?
We will go down to Jim's discussion.
Yeah, I know that, but, well, unless you want to have Mike come back.
Well, I think it's on video, it's on the public wire, so if
Okay.
anybody had any questions.
I'd be willing to.
I can vote for it tonight too, but if we don't have, we can wait till, it did say discussion, we'll wait till the
I think
second.
it'd be better to
Yeah,
wait.
okay, great.
That's fine.
Yeah,
But he doesn't, I don't think he needs to come back.
No.
Okay, good.
If anybody wants to, they can listen if they want, have any
No
questions.
comment.
Yeah, I mean, just to put on that, I mean, we've been working very hard with Rob and your road superintendent, with the city of Sylvania, with all of our townships to find ways that we can work together to continue to find ways to partner with each other to make our stuff go further. Like we use your equipment to maybe, instead of having to buy a piece of equipment that we might need, you know, a lot of times we partner with our townships to be able to work together to share that equipment so that,
And I
you know,
think
we can use that a
need
lot.
more of that. If it saves you money, it's saving taxpayer money.
That's right, it saves the township money, it saves us money, and we're both better off in the end. And we want to continue to do that and work with our townships to, basically, from our perspective, you know, the public doesn't care whether it's a county road or a township road.
No.
They just want to make sure that the roads are maintained in good condition.
Sure.
The more we can work together to do that, the better off we all are. We thank you for your support.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for effort for coming tonight, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, with that being said, we are gonna go back, we're gonna adjourn and go
No,
back.
we're adjourned, just going to executive session.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we go back in executive session at 6:35.
Second?
Calling the roll, Mr. Crandall.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Okay. My tape is going.
That's good. Thanks for coming, Mike.
This set is live, so we're live.
All right, I'd like to offer a motion to come out of executive session at 7:08.
Second?
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion at 7:08 that we adjourn for these.
Second?
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes. All righty, thanks, everybody.
Yeah.